Hello guys, welcome to the second, which is going to be the last video of the series of managed service scheduling. So we're going to try and round up this service scheduling in this particular video. So far, I've created extra user called Dr. John Fisher, and we have just room 1, room 2, and the conference room 1 that we created in the previous video. So today we're going to schedule a service using the resources we have. So to schedule a service, we go to the service work area and we go to the service calendar. This is where we actually do the scheduling. So looking at, we have the service activity, we have appointment, you can schedule and you can reschedule, and you can change status or check for conflict or send direct email. Now to schedule, this is what we do. We click on schedule and it brings this form of schedule service activity. So of course we have to select the customer that we want to schedule a service for and the service itself. So you realize that the service and the duration are the mandatory fields. Now for the service, we have one service that has been created. So we're going to open this up just so you can see what has been created. So we have a consultancy service created and the default duration is 30 minutes. So it's going to start activities every 15 minutes and we're going to be starting this at 9 a.m. So this is, and you have the initial status reason. By default it actually changed this to reserved. You can change this to say, well, once you schedule a service, you want the status of that to be either pending, reserved, in progress, or arrived. And here we have the resource selection rule. So we're going to create another service just to be able to explain this. So but this, for the consultancy service, this is what we have. So we can close this. So we're going to come back to this page. So we're going to close this and create another service. So to do that, we go still to the same service work area and then we click on services. So we're going to click on new. So let's assume we want to have a service. Well, in this is still more like trying to simulate a medical environment. So let's assume we're going to have a dental service. So we can put in a description. So again, the initial status reason by default is set to reserve. We can say, well, this is not going to be like you book an appointment on the phone, so you have to come in. So it's going to be more like a walk-in dental service. So once you come, it's going to be like arrived. So let's call this dental service walk-in. And you can say, well, this service is actually going to go for 45 minutes. And we can say, we can put more gaps to say 30 minutes after the end of a particular service, another slot will be available, and we can start this at say 10 a.m. Now coming to the resource selection rule, this is where you're going to specify what you need for this service. So for this service, the first thing you see here is to select the site at which this selection rule is going to apply to. So if I click on in here, you see you specify the quantity of what you need of the site. Well, obviously for this particular service, 1 is okay, and then you can change this to, you can leave it at the same site or just go for any site in the sense that if we have more than one site, for this particular scenario we have just one site. If you have more than one site, you can make this selection rule to go across site. So we can just leave it at any site, even though we have just one site. It doesn't change anything. So we click OK, and Here we're going to click on the resource or the resource groups, or we can as well still create a selection rule. So we can embed a selection rule within a selection rule, but we're going to go for the resource or the resources that we want for this. Now the resources we want for this, of course, we're going to need a room where the dental appointment is going to take place. We're going to need the medical practitioner, which is a user that is going to attend to the patient. So we're going to start with the user. So for the user, we're going to need, let's say we're going to need Dr. John Fisher. But in an organization or medical environment where you have, of course, you're going to have more than one practitioner. So the best thing is to just, rather than using user, you can just change it to resource group, and you can just make use of the resource group, whereby like resource group is not like it's going to group all the users together, all the doctors or all the medical practitioners together as a group, and the selection is just going to go into the group and select any one of them that fit the criteria for the service. But for this example, we're just choosing Dr. John Fisher, and then we click add. So the next thing is we're still gonna add, because we need to specify the room that is going to be needed. So what we're saying for this selection rule is that John Fisher is the only doctor that will be selected. But what about the room? We have more than one room. So this is where we're now going to add another resource. And at this time, it's not going to be user. We're going to change this to facility. And we have room 1, room 2. So we can select the two and add that, or if we have this in a resource group, which is better, we can just click on rooms. So if you look at this, the rooms resource group, we have just 2 rooms, room 1 and room 2. So what that means is at the point when we want to make or schedule a service, the selection rule is going to automatically pick John Fisher and will look for available room, either room 1 or room 2. So we click save and close. Now we have 2 services. Now let's go back to the service calendar. Now we're back at our service calendar. So at this point, we'll try to schedule a service. So let's pick a customer. Let's say we want a particular customer needs a dental or walks in straight to the clinic for a dental service. So let's change this to contact. So let's go for Jim. So the next thing is to specify the service that Jim has come for. Oh, Jim actually came for dental service. So we click on dental, and at this point, we can go ahead to choose the resources. We want to manually pick the resources, or we can just click on find available times. Now, looking at the start date, we see as soon as possible. Of course, the person just walks in, and the start time and the duration, of course, by default is set to 45 minutes based on this particular service. So if we click on find available times, so this is what the system actually gets. So we can see that for room 2, from this time is actually available based on, of course, the work hours of the room. Assume it is okay with this, so we can go ahead and schedule, and you have the resources being selected here and the time. So we make the subject dental appointment for Jim, and we go ahead and we save and close. If we zoom in, we see the appointment has been created, which is on the calendar. We see it from 12 p.m. on this day. We see that. So we can as well open that up right from the calendar to see that particular appointment or service activity. So let's schedule another appointment. This time around, let's go for an account called Lightwear Inc. And let's try the consultancy service. So if you specify the resources here, let's say we want to use CRM Trainer as the user that's going to carry out this service. And then we click on Find Available Time. This is what we get. But what about if we now specify the site? We actually have one site here. If I click on Clinic A as a site and click Find Available Time, I get nothing. The reason why you have that is because of the setting right from the beginning, like at the creation of the site, the creation of the resources. So when you're trying to schedule an activity, a service activity, and you're having a behavior like this, you have to look again into your configuration, into your setting. And that is the reason why the setup right from the beginning is very important, as in you really getting to understand the service you're trying to create and the resources that will be available for the service. Now let's go to this particular clinic. We do not have anything. So we're just going to add the resource to this site to say, well, this resources is actually for this site. This is one of the things we actually forgot to do at the point when we're creating the site or even the resource. So we're going to add CRM Trainer because that is the resource we're trying to make use of. We're going to add the rooms as well. So that we're going to say the rooms actually are in that particular site. Clinic A. So we go to facilities and let's just add room 2. So we're going to minimize that on Find Available Times. Now you realize that we have more entry. We can do a rescheduling of appointment, and that actually opens the one we created, the dental service working. So we can change this from the current time 12 p.m. I say we want it to be 11:15. We save and close. If we have more than one appointment, we can check for conflict and we can change the status. So change the status might be like we click, let's assume that particular as in if you open up this again, is the appointment is actually for gym. Let's assume gym even though these are working, so let's assume gym actually decides not to go for the service, maybe just want to cancel that particular appointment. So at this point we can change the status to from arrived to say maybe to cancelled or no show, or if we're done with the service you can say is completed. So let's go for no show, and you will see that the color actually changes so that we can see easily the status of the appointment. So that actually brings to an end this particular series of service scheduling management. Thank you very much for your time, and please leave a comment and subscribe to this channel. Bye bye.